8:45, this is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj, read by Soundithavam. The Defence Secretary says Sri Lanka will keep eyes and minds open to counter threats at the doorstep. China says research vessel docking at the Hambantota port doesn't affect any country. The CPC to begin refinery operations this week to operate without any interruptions. Coronavirus update, 161 new cases and 5 more deaths confirmed. Minister Manusha Nanayakara says a collective effort to bust human smuggling racket using visit visas. The Agriculture Ministry plans to distribute 10,000 metric tons of urea to maize cultivators. A 50-kilogram urea fertilizer stock will be sold at a nominal rate of 10,000 rupees to the cultivators. The Examination Department says new dates to be given to those who could not attend the practical exam. In news overseas, Liz Cheney, Trump critic blasts Republican personality cult after defeat. And in sports, Sri Lanka and India to jointly host the T20 World Cup 2026. Sri Lanka's national security demands greater attention, unlike during the history of the country ever since the independence, said the Defence Secretary General Kamal Gunaratne today. Quote, Sri Lanka has to keep its eyes and minds open to counter all these threats that are at her doorstep, unquote, he also stressed. The Defence Secretary, participating at the inaugural National Defence College's NDC's Research Symposium 2022 as the chief guest, stated that it is a great leap forward and hopefully the output of the NDC would certainly contribute towards facing future challenges to ensure everlasting peace and security. The NDC Commandant, Major General Amal Karunasekara, warmly received the Chief Guest, General Gunaratne, and the keynote speaker of the day, Mr. Lalit Veratunga, on their arrival at the venue. The maiden NDC-organised symposium, which is exclusively designed to promote defence research and create an environment to explore research ideas related to the discipline of the national security and strategic studies, was held under the theme of exploring multinodal security dynamics at the Faculty of Graduate Studies Auditorium, General Sir John Kotalawala Defence University, KDU. Defining the national security as the ability of a country's government to protect its citizens, economy and other institutions, the Defence Secretary went on to say, today the scope of security in the context of non-military nature revolves around the provisions of economic security, political security, energy security, homeland security, cyber security, home security and environmental security in a broader context. Sri Lanka's death toll from COVID-19 climbed to 16,635 today after the Director General of Health Services confirmed 5 more COVID-19 related deaths in the country for yesterday. According to the Government Information Department, the 4 victims were aged 60 years and above. The remaining one was aged between 30 to 59 years. Among the victims are 2 males and 3 females. Meanwhile, another 161 new COVID-19 infections have been identified in the country today. This brings the total number of COVID-19 cases detected in the country thus far to 668,497. The Ministry of Agriculture has called for applications online from the maize cultivators for the distribution of urea fertilizer. Another vessel from India has arrived with urea fertilizer stocks. Accordingly, the ministry plans to distribute 10,000 metric tons of urea to maize cultivators. A 50-kilogram urea fertilizer stock will be sold at a nominal rate of 10,000 rupees to the cultivators. China on Tuesday said the activities of its high-tech research vessel will not affect the security of any country and should not be obstructed by any third party as the ship berthed at Sri Lanka's strategic southern port of Hambantota amid Indian and US concerns. The Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin said the ship Yuan Wang 5 has successfully berthed at the Hambantota port with active cooperation from the Sri Lankan side. Wang parried a question of extending financial support to Sri Lanka, which went bankrupt, defaulting on $51 billion in foreign debt, which included loans from China. He said that when the ship arrived, the Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka, Kui Zhenghong, hosted the on-site welcoming ceremony at the Hambantota port, which Beijing took over on a 99-year lease as a debt swap in 2017. apparently referring to Indian and US concerns over the ship with military applications berthing at the Hambantota port in the Indian Ocean. Wang said, "Court, I want to stress again that the maritime scientific research activities of the Yuan 5 ship are consistent with international law and international customary practice," unquote. He said the ceremony was attended by a representative of the Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe, besides more than 10 heads of parties and heads of friendly communities. The atmosphere was warm and welcoming as the Chinese and Sri Lankan national anthems were played and the Sri Lankan people performed the traditional folk dance on the red carpet, he said. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Minister of Power and Energy, Kanchana Wijesekara, met with commercial management and refinery officials of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation CPC this morning to discuss the cargo plans for September to December and refinery operations. He said that the CPC hopes to commence refinery operations this week to operate without any interruptions and a continuous supply of crude oil. Court hoped to have orders confirmed in advance to obtain petroleum products on better premiums, unquote, he said. Meanwhile, the minister said that he also held discussions with the Ceylon Electricity Board, CEB Engineers Union, and other union representatives yesterday afternoon. He said they made a request on behalf of the union members regarding 2 engineers who were sent on compulsory leave and were in charge of the System Control Centre. The minister said they also discussed about the reform plans of the CEB and that he requested them to hand over their proposals for restructuring and to assist in implementing the renewable energy plans. A collective decision was taken with the representatives from Katunayake Airport, the Immigration and Emigration Department and the Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Bureau to stop people going overseas for jobs under the guise of visiting a particular country on visit visas, the Labour and Foreign Employment Minister Manusha Nanayakara said. Addressing the media, he said a mafia is operating to send people for foreign jobs. It has been reported that certain institutions and agencies are sending gullible people for foreign jobs without registering them with the SLFEB and without any assurance of granting them foreign jobs, the minister said. Court, those people who leave the country with visit visas in their hand. There is no issue if they secure jobs with a visit visa. Most of the people are deceived by the smugglers. We have reported that many people face legal issues after leaving the country on visit visas. This has tarnished the image of our country, unquote, the minister said. That concludes local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhaloka Vedamahatma.
The examination department says new dates are given to those who could not attend the practical exam. This arrangement was made on the request of the applicants who could not attend the earlier scheduled practical exam. The examination chief, LMD Dharmasena, said the practical exams will be held on the 19th, 20th and the 21st of this month. The practical exams, including dance, music, performing arts and engineering technology, are scheduled to be held on these days and came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhaloka Vedamahatma.
Watch Life is brought to you by
A Strength to Your Life. CIB Janajaya Vasana has commenced. Valuable gifts and all bills are on 31st of October. Come to CIB today.
Raids have been initiated to take legal action against the bus crew members for charging bus fares higher than the revised bus fares, the National Transport Commission NTC Director General Nilan Miranda said. He said the raids were conducted following complaints received by the NTC, alleging that certain private buses charge more than the revised fare. Therefore, the NTC informed all passenger transport authorities to assign all their mobile inspectors to investigate the incidents on provincial buses. Meanwhile, the Director General said that several more inspection teams attached to the NTC have been assigned, he said. And that came to you in Watchlight, a bulletin of world news. Up next.
A Strength to Your Life. CIB Janajaya Vasana has commenced. Valuable gifts and all bills are on 31st of October. Come to CIB today.
On to a bulletin of world news making headlines tonight. Liz Cheney, a Trump critic, blasts Republican personality cult after defeat. China, millions hit by power cuts amid heatwave. Scott Morrison, Australia's ex-Prime Minister, resists pressure to step down. A leading Republican critic of Donald Trump, has said the party embraced his cult of personality after she was ousted in a primary election. Liz Cheney, 56, was defeated by the political newcomer and Trump-backed candidate Harriet Heichman in Wyoming. She faced an uphill battle to win re-election after joining the congressional committee investigating Mr. Trump's attempts to cling to power. Millions of residents in China's southwestern Sichuan province have been hit with rolling power cuts amid a severe heatwave and drought. In the city of Dazhou, home to some 5.4 million people, blackouts are lasting up to 3 hours, local media report. They say factories in the province have been forced to cut production or halt work as part of emergency measures to redirect power supplies to households. Former Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison has resisted calls to resign from Parliament after news emerged that he had secretly assumed 5 additional roles during his tenure. He defended his decision, which was taken during the pandemic, as necessary in extraordinary times. Mr. Morrison is currently the Member of Parliament for Cook in New South Wales. The revelations caused uproar among the public and his colleagues, with one calling his behaviour dictatorial. Back to the headlines of the world news. Liz Cheney, Trump critic, blasts Republican personality cult after defeat. China, millions hit by power cuts amid heatwave. Scott Morrison, Australia's ex-Prime Minister, resists pressure to step down. With that, we conclude this bulletin of world news and on to development news. The US government, through its development agency, the US Agency for International Development, USAID, is committed to accelerating clean energy to drive social and economic sustainable growth in Sri Lanka. On August 16th, the Minister of Power and Energy, Kanchana Wijesekara, and the US Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Julie Chung, attended a signing ceremony for a MOU between the USAID Sri Lanka Energy Programme and David Peary's Motor Company, DPMC, that will facilitate the electrification of three-wheelers, commonly known as tuk-tuks. That's development news, and up next is sports news.
Sports news is brought to you by
Sampath Bank, we present your future.
T20 cricket. The International Cricket Council, ICC, has issued the Men's Future Tours Programme, FTP, for 2023-2027, reaffirming the international calendar for full member nations across formats. 5 significant ICC events are included in the future cycle of the ICC's Future Tours Programme, beginning with the Cricket World Cup in India the next year. India will also play joint host with Sri Lanka in the 2026 T20 World Cup, a first-of-its-kind joint venture in this format. India and Sri Lanka were joint hosts of the 2011 50-over World Cup along with Bangladesh. In the 2023-2027 FTP cycle, the 12 members will play 777 international matches. That's 173 tests, 281 ODIs and 323 T20Is, compared to 694 in the current one. In addition to the bilateral series, this 4-year cycle will see a single Men's Cricket World Cup and Champions Trophy edition, as well as 2 Men's T20 World Cups and WTC finals. The West Indies and the USA will host the T20 World Cup in 2024, with Pakistan hosting the Champions Trophy in 2025. And on to soccer news. Everton and Besiktas are in talks after a potential loan move for midfielder Dale Alli. The 26-year-old, who has been capped 37 times by England, has started 1 game in 13 Everton appearances since joining the club from Tottenham last January. However, it is not certain that a loan move to Turkey will happen. If it does, it would represent a blow to the former Spurs player who joined Everton in an attempt to revitalise his career. All that came to you in sports news. Business news up next.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business news sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
MBSL Insurance Company Limited opened its newest fully-fledged branch in the city of Ambalanthota recently to cater to the insurance needs of the local community. The company aims to expand and strengthen its reach throughout the nation to serve its customers better. The new branch is located at number 133/1, first floor, Main Street, Ambalanthota. MBCL Insurance offers a wider range of general insurance products to meet every customer need, including both motor and non-motor insurance. The company strives to provide the highest service standards with a total spectrum of protection. That's business news. Economic news follows.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Under the Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau's Visiting Journalists and Blogger programs, a group of high-profile Indian media personnel was invited to Sri Lanka from July 3rd to July 11th to rediscover Indo-Sri Lanka historical relationships. 8 media personnel, including several key states and cities of India, including Delhi, Mumbai, Pune, Kolkata, Bangalore and Hyderabad, were present. The Indian audience expected to be reached via this media promotion will be approximately 104 million across India, covering key outbound regions. Some of the key Indian national and regional publications that participated in this destination exploration were Lokmat, Print Daily, Daily Sagar, Language Marathi, India Blooms News Service, that's indiablooms.com, Mumbai Messenger, Language Hindi, India Tribune, Language English, Daily Dobaj Dopaha, Language Hindi. With that, we conclude economic news.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall gold award whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking. LOLC Finance will continue to innovate with the next generation digitalization of financial services, delivering a superior customer experience.
On to the weather report. The Met Department says that showers or thundershowers will occur at several places over most parts of the island during the evening or night. Heavy showers about 100 millimeters can be expected at some places in the Sabargama, Central, North Central, Uva and Southern provinces. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. Meanwhile, the international weather forecast website AccuWeather.com reports that the day's weather was cloudy with occasional showers. Today's daytime temperature was observed to be around 28 degrees Celsius. There will be light showers in many places in the Colombo district in the night. Tonight's temperature will be around 26 degrees Celsius and there will be scattered showers in selected spots late in the night. The ground temperature would be around 27 degrees Celsius at the time of this news broadcast. The air quality index AQI is 21, which is fair air conditions in Colombo. The air quality is generally acceptable for most individuals. However, sensitive groups may experience minor to moderate symptoms from long-term exposure. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. The Defence Secretary says Sri Lanka will keep eyes and minds open to counter threats at the doorstep. China says research vessel docking at the Hambantota port doesn't affect any country. The CPC to begin refinery operations this week to operate without any interruptions. Coronavirus update, 161 new cases and 5 more deaths confirmed. Minister Manusha Nanayakara says a collective effort to bust human smuggling rackets using visit visas. The Agriculture Ministry plans to distribute 10,000 metric tons of urea to maize cultivators. A 50-kilogram urea fertilizer stock will be sold at a nominal rate of 10,000 rupees to the cultivators. The Examinations Department says new dates are given to those who could not attend the practical exam. Liz Cheney, Trump critic, blasts Republican personality cult after defeat. And Sri Lanka and India to jointly host the T20 World Cup 2026. With that, we conclude tonight's news broadcast.